Can you share about your business endeavors and particularly the bed? That sounds so amazing. Can you just, because this is now all the things you were speaking about earlier now manifested in the physical universe on something that can heal and utilize. Can you share about that a bit?
Yeah. So first of all, I can't say that it heals or doesn't heal. There are all kinds of laws around what I can and can't say, sadly, as the person that is championing the bed in the world. So what I can talk about is how it works and like quantum fields and things like that. What we can talk about is also what we've seen. So we've seen what I consider miracles happen, and we invite everyone to come and experience it, because to talk about it is one thing, but to experience it is a whole nother world. The very first quantum wellness spa is going to be open, hopefully in Denton in December, and we're going to have that. There's also a place, I think it's in Ohio, but it could be in Wisconsin, that's opening as well. There's going to be a map on all that. But to kind of explain the technology is the easier part to understand here. Imagine that you, as a person, are being in a womb, right? So you're in the womb and you are a little embryo, and then the sperm comes together and it creates you, the person that you are, right? So the only difference between that version of you and this version of you is what? Resources. As Doria talks about, resources are the only difference, right? So if we had access to the same resources, what could happen? Well, one of those resources is to feel safe and secure, right? Because when you're in the womb, there's that warmth and all those other energies. So the bed actually does have heat as a concept, right? Then it has vibroacoustics, so that there's like sound waves and things that work with it. But the most valuable aspect of it is what is called a bioantenna, or a quantum field technology that actually takes and creates this value. And we use the symbols of nature to do that. So what that means is that these symbols that are found in nature and leaves and in trees and everything else are generating a biophotonic field. Then you have the heat that's unlocking and letting your body relax into it. And then you have the sound that's playing using frequencies. We've partnered with Elijah Ray. So we have custom tracks and sound healing journeys that are coming out with the bed exclusively. And the first one is already out. It's called Innocence. So people are able to lay down and like go back into that Innocence template and clean out the body. And we've had very, very powerful experiences with that. But the most valuable thing about this is all of these technologies, again, that we design and that we build and that we collaborate with other people to build, are technologies that are designed to unlock your potential, because you are your greatest tool. So the reason I go back to that womb thing is because you, with the divine spark plus those resources, created everything that's in your body, created every aspect of who you are. So if you put that together and you realize that you still have the divine spark, you still have you, and you have a lack of resources, which is what's causing your problems, but then you put yourself in a quantum field where you have access to those resources, your divine intelligence knows what to do with those resources, you can actually repair, replenish, support yourself on every level that you can imagine. And it's between you and your divinity how you do that. You and your divine intelligence choose where that goes, which is what's really fun about the bed. We have people that come and they're like, oh, I have cancer and I want to cure cancer. And then they lay on the bed and cancer doesn't get cured, but then they find out that they had like an issue with their sight and now they have 20/20 vision. They're like, I don't know how that happened, because divine intelligence chooses what needs to be replaced and supported first. You see, we're a system, a very delicate system. And to try to fix this problem before you fix these problems, it doesn't necessarily work the same way. We've had people that lay on the bed and it takes them like 3 or 4 treatments before they start to notice major results in what they're wanting. And that's okay, right? Because it takes the time it takes, because you have to learn the things. Also, our body, I can't remember this. This is something I learned in Money and You, but I can't remember the word exactly. All I remember, it's a part of your brain, and it's the reticular something. But that part of your brain also filters out what's possible. So whenever you have doubts or insecurities around something, you actually make it work twice as hard. One of the greatest conversations I've ever had with another scientist is, his name's Zach Bush. Maybe some of you have heard of him, but we were talking about the difference between how quantum field technology works on animals versus people. And the only difference that he found was the stories, that stories actually stop the field from going through and updating the cellular memory. So we aren't able to get the same value as long as we have stories. So one common side effect that we've seen with the bed is that while they're laying in that meditative state, the stories of their childhood, things start coming up for them to resolve and let go of. But the coolest part about this is, again, and I can't stress this enough, the bed isn't healing you. It's providing resources for you to choose to heal. And we have actual studies now. The white paper just got done. It's going to get published pretty soon, but that one was on pain, and it was a 37% reduction in an hour. And that was pretty amazing. So you'll see that stuff coming out. You'll see all these amazing studies come out because we're about to spend millions of dollars to do studies on quantum field technology that proves it. But the coolest part about the studies that we're coming out with is it's actually showing the difference between electromagnetic frequencies, scalar frequencies, and quantum field frequencies. And now that's something that can be distinguished. We can actually look and see the difference in how these technologies work. And so far, there hasn't really been any other technologies out there that does that. For some of you, you probably have already read the source seed study, but it actually enhances your DNA receptivity to electricity by 90%. That's actually a proven scientific thing now. Just so you know, prior to this technology coming out, the highest ever on record was 50%. And it was the very first scalar machine, like the Rife system, things like that. So to be able to go to 90% of 100, just think about that. That is a massive advancement. And what that could mean for our bodies, what that could mean for the future of health. I truly believe that in my lifetime, we'll live to be 300 to 600 years old, if not thousands, because we have so many amazing technologies. And for the first time, we're starting to go back to nature to remember what we have lost. So working with the bed can be very beneficial to your body. It can be very beneficial for your own spiritual connection. Again, we've seen people that had lost their connection, had lost faith and hope, that lay on the bed and they just feel hopeful again. And they're like, well, I didn't cure this thing that I have, but I actually feel good again. I'm like, well, that's the first step to curing the thing that you have, is feeling good again. The bed doesn't cure you. The bed doesn't treat you. The bed doesn't heal you. It provides you with the resources for you to heal yourself. One of my favorite Bible verses is healer, heal thyself, because it's acknowledging and it's stating and saying, hey guys, like, you got to do the work. So the technology can help you get there, but you've got to do the work. You've got to do the upkeep work. You've got to build the systems required to keep going on that journey up, because most sicknesses are a lack of resources. This is what science has now proven. For instance, cancer doesn't have the right proteins to stamp, and so it creates cancer cells. So when we have what we need, sickness could be eradicated. I truly believe with the introduction of quantum field technology in modern medicine, that short of like car wrecks or major critical surgeries that have to happen because of something, which, by the way, I believe those also are related to quantum fields, which we could get into that topic later. But I believe that we don't need the same systems that we have now, that it's time to improve to this next level. And this is one of the things that I'm a huge champion for, is moving quantum field technology into the forefront so that we stop looking at chemical-based problems and start looking at voltage-based problems, start looking at the electrical systems that our body is, because we've now proven that we actually have quantum computation capabilities in our brain. It's a real thing. There isn't a computer out in the world that processes better than our brain at full capacity. We've figured that out now. So why aren't we actualizing inwardly? Why aren't we working on figuring out our greatest tool? It's a shame to me that we exist in a world where we spend billions upon trillions of dollars trying to discover everything outside of ourselves, when we have all of the answers within ourselves for that. And I'm going to leave you with this really cool thing that I learned when I was very young, and this is why I don't read books. So when I was really young, I met the head shaman of Peru. And the head shaman of Peru was trained in a cave of darkness, never allowed to go out, never read a book, nothing. But he could quote every single book, line by line, every page. And I was just like, how is this possible? He's like, because everything that is in form came from up here, and I'm up here. And the moment that I understood that, I was like, okay, so you exist in the stream, and therefore you have access to everything. Okay, I don't have that yet, but I know how to get that. So I'm just going to spend that time in meditation. I'm not telling you not to read, because I still think that reading can be beneficial for people depending on their journey. And also, there are times where God's like, hey, go turn to this page on this book and read this one word out loud. And then I read it and I'm like, whoa, that unlocks so much for me. So there is possibility for everything. And it's your journey and your discovery that teaches you those things. So if the bed is in front of you to try out and use, feel free to. If books are in front of you to try out and read, feel free to. If money in you is, awesome, right? But it doesn't matter, because it's what's in front of you that's so important, because what's in front of you is what's here to unlock you to your next level, so that you have more dimensionality and more depth, so that in each experience you unlock more of who you are. And this is how quantum field works. I call it quantum magnetism, but the principle is that the stronger that we are within ourselves, the more magnetism we have, the more the flow comes. And this is one of the reasons why that divide in the world that I talk about is so dangerous, is because it breaks the magnetism. It separates us so that we're no longer working together in that high level, in that high field. Because when you actually magnetize properly, you expand out like this, up and out and around. It's one of the reasons why I loved Money and You so much, is because it built that foundation. It created the elevator of consciousness that takes you to the stream that I was talking about, where everything is available to you inside of you. The bed and other technologies out there like that, they just help you to get there. But I truly believe this, and for anyone out there that doesn't know this, if we lived in the world where there wasn't corruption, there wasn't chaotic fields and frequencies, we hadn't built towers that actually kill biophotons, but we lived in a living light world where we had pure clean water, pure clean energy, pure clean oxygen, we wouldn't need the bed. We would have all the resources we need. So my goal was to bring the bed into the world for the next 10 years during the transition phase, because I believe in the next 8 years, the entire world and every problem in it will be solved, other than societal problems, which will also be very diminished, because most problems from society happen from environmental. So if we can bring back living nature, bring back living communion with nature, and actually remove the divide between us and nature again, and we can actually build sustainable housing that works with biofields, that creates biophotons, if we can build this world, then everything you know about sickness, everything you know about depression, everything you know about anxiety, everything you know about any negative value that ever has existed doesn't have to anymore. And this is why the bed was created. This is why source seeds were created. This is why we're working with some partners to build lifetime homes, or what we call forever homes, homes that last 500 plus years, that are fireproof, that are they work with nature, they create biophotons. We have like all of this amazing technology, and I'm only allowed to share so much of it right now. But over this next year, you're going to learn about all this amazing stuff that's going to be coming out to the forefront, that's going to inspire so much more hope, because you're going to see that you've actually lived through the hardest times of your life, and that we're coming into the cleanup phase, where we're finally going to face our problems head on and bring real solutions instead of management tools.